Hey everyone, this is Dark Knight from Method Gaming. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is part 2 of my Steadfast Marshal clan boss video. Previous one was on Nightmare, and we did, how much did we do? 26.8 million on the first key, and it was decent. Like I said in a previous video, this is right about where I'm at with my regular team, which instead of Marshal includes Doom Priest for the cleanse and the small heals. So not really a huge improvement, but like I said, I will keep trying using the Steam comp to see if I can push further, because we might be looking at a bad key here. If you've seen the other video, you probably remember that in the very beginning we didn't land our poison sensitivity debuff. We kind of messed up the rotation with the defense down and weaken. So potentially this could look better in the future. So I'll keep trying, and I'll let you guys know if it works. Now, I want to try this same team comp on Ultra Nightmare. Just going to go through the gear real quick. There's really no changes from the last video. I'm literally recording this a few hours later, so sorry. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so here are the stats for Skull Crusher, just in case you need them as a sort of a benchmark to get an idea of how well you can do this on your account if you decide to go for it. This is Steadfast Marshal. Here's Frozen Banshee, and did I miss someone? I think I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Razin, of course. There we go. So this is what I have on them. It's nothing special. As you can see, we've got some common pieces on Razin, poor guy. So like I said, this is a very budget team, I think. So if you're struggling with your clan boss, this could be something you might look into, especially if you don't have a cleanser. Basically what the problem is with the clan boss is that if you don't have somebody to cleanse the stun from your team, you might run into some trouble. Namely, for example, if you have your leader stunned, because the aggro of the boss is usually going to go to the leader if all else is equal. If your leader is stunned and you're okay with that, that's fine. But for example, in my team, just show you what I normally use. Where is she? Hold on. There we go. This is what I normally use. So in my team, usually Jirag is the one that takes the stun, which is fine. He can, for the most part, keep attack down even if he gets stunned. And besides, Doom Priest is there to cleanse that stun right away. So he always takes his turn. He doesn't, he doesn't stay stunned for one turn. So I have my passive cleanser. Doom Priest cleanses 1 debuff from all allies whenever she takes a turn, and usually she takes her turn right after I get the stun on somebody, so it's cleansed off right away. She's also very useful for the Spirit Affinity, because she cleanses the speed down, which can mess up your rotation. So that's definitely somebody that you can use for that if you have her. I'm actually really happy with Doom Priest. She's done some amazing stuff for me, not just in clan boss, but in dungeons as well. But I am looking to replace her with somebody who can do a bit more damage. Alternatively, if I can find that, I could look into, and I will of course look into, getting some better gear, more crit chance, crit damage on everybody, not just her, because she can hit quite hard actually. She's usually on par on damage with Skull Crusher, which is not saying much, but still, it's something. So if you don't have a cleanser though, and if you can't control the stun, you can run into problems. For example, let's take Skull Crusher. Now Skull Crusher, we need that um, counterattack to be on a 3-turn cooldown and to always go right after the stun. But if he is the one who takes the stun, which might happen, and it most likely will happen because he's taken a lot of damage through ally protection on the previous 2 turns, so chances are if his War Master doesn't proc, he might not be topped off. And if everybody else is topped off and he isn't, he's the one that's going to get targeted most likely. So when that happens, he'll get stunned, then his passive will cleanse the stun, so he will still be able to take a turn. However, there's a caveat to that. This skill will still be on a 1-turn cooldown when he cleanses his passive, when he cleanses through his passive. So he will cleanse the stun, he will take a turn, but he will not be able to throw Stonewall when he is supposed to. He'll lose 1 turn for Stonewall and he'll be able to use it on the next turn. That means he will go out of sync with the whole rotation. So I think for a lot of people that have a counter attacker, this is one of the biggest issues. Just making sure that the stun doesn't land on them, or alternatively incorporating a cleanser in the team who can get rid of that stun even if your counterattack champion takes the stun. So this would be the reason why you might want to try the comp that I am using today. So let's get right into it. Okay, I'll try to explain. Let me just make sure I take it off auto this time. If you watched the previous video, I didn't manage to take it off auto right away. So, okay, so for now we're just gonna go with basics. Basically waiting for the first rotation. Because my speeds are for Nightmare, I didn't get to place counterattack right before the first AoE, so I'm just basically going to use basic attacks or A1s until I can get to where I need to be. Okay, so this is the second AoE. Next up is the stun. So again, basics. Let's place that attack down. Great. Alright, and then at this point we need him to place his increased defense and get an extra turn. So let's do that so he can eat the stun. Basically, the idea here is that he'll place a veil on everybody else but himself, and that means that the clan boss will only be able to target him and nobody else. So let's see if this works out. Alright, he got the stun. At this point we can run it as usual. Toss on the counter attack and just hit auto. From this point on, everything should be working just fine. So the idea of this is basically make sure that Steadfast always places that veil right before the stun, so he eats the stun. He's an HP based champion, so he can take quite a bit of pounding. For the most part, you should be able to build him as an ultra tank, like really tanky, so that he can tank as many of those stuns as possible. So that's kind of the idea behind this. Now, you probably noticed that I don't have amazing gear, so this is something that I can improve on definitely. Like I said in the other video, I think the team is there, I just need the gear for him. So normally on Ultra Nightmare with the other team that I showed you that is using Doom Priest instead of the Marshal, I do roughly about 16 to 17 million on most runs. Some runs I get unlucky and I do about 13 million, but on some runs I do get lucky and I do about 20 million, so it kind of depends, but 16.5 is kind of my benchmark, so I want to see. Of course, this is just the first attempt, it might fail miserably, but I want to see if I can reach that 16.5 threshold that I normally can with my regular team, to see if this team is actually an improvement or if it's not working out. In the previous video you probably saw that I got just about similar result to what I normally get with my team using Doom Priest. So it wasn't really an improvement, but it wasn't worse at the same time. Now here in Ultra Nightmare, I'm kind of interested to see if that's the same, if it's the same case or not. So we'll see. We're about 13 turns in with 6 million damage. Going to try and see the damage output at about 15 turns. This will give me an idea how much damage I can do if I survive 30 turns, because I don't think I'll be able to survive much past turn 30. We'll see though. Okay, so here, if you see that, what's his face? Skull Crusher's kind of low on health, and everybody else was up to 100%, he would have taken the stun. If it wasn't for the Veil, he would have taken the stun for sure. And that would have messed up his rotation entirely. I'm using Jareg for now, because I hope that his defense up and ally protection can keep the Marshal going for a bit longer whenever possible. The issue is that the Marshal, because he takes 2 turns, if Jareg has the ally protection cast before he takes his 2 turns, basically it's going to go away. So it's not going to be much help. I kind of missed to see what kind of damage we did at the 15 turn mark, but that's okay. So basically I can only get the ally protection bonus from Jareg if he casts it right after the stun, which doesn't always happen. His ally protection defense up is on a 4-turn cooldown, so it goes out of sync. You can't really sync it to where it's always up at the same time. But every now and then it comes into sync, so it's useful. And besides, the Marshal can do his own defense up whenever he takes the stun, so that always helps. And on the very next turn he takes the ally protection from Skull Crusher, so that is also something that keeps him alive, even though he didn't attack right after the stun wore off. Let's see. Ouch, it's starting to hurt. Unfortunately, we didn't get a mastery proc from the Marshal to throw a counterattack. Oh, he survived that. I can't believe it. Honestly, can't believe it. He's gonna die in the next one. He's got too little HP to survive. Yep. That 15% heal almost saved him, but it wasn't enough. So we're looking at about 14 million when the Marshal dropped. These guys are probably going to be able to survive a couple more turns. Let's see. Maybe do a bit more damage. If we can get to 17, that'll be actually pretty good. The thing is, if I can get those numbers consistently, I could just keep going with this team and just see how far I can get it. Because it seems like a fun team, to be honest. And it might actually be more consistent than my previous one. Because sometimes with the previous one, the issue was if Skull Crusher didn't get War Master proc to kill himself, he would normally get one shot, and that would end the run earlier. So 16.75, right about where my average damage was with the other team. So not an improvement, but definitely not a letdown either. So yeah, there we go. That was a decent run, I think. So he is at the very least a good replacement for Doom Priest, for example, because Doom Priest is an epic after all. Maybe not a lot of people have her. If you just don't have a cleanser, and if you have this guy sitting in your vault, this could be something that might help you, because of this Veil buff. Just make him very tanky, stack HP on him, get his masteries done so he can heal himself from War Master. Now I've gone for Lifesteal and Immortal Gear. There is something to be said about maybe going all Immortal on him, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough to heal him up. It may be worth testing all Immortal with this mastery here, Life Drinker. Whenever he gets below 50% HP, he will get some health back from this mastery, but I honestly don't think it'll be enough. Even the 9% heal that he's going to get from having 3 immortal sets, because each one is a 3% heal, so a total of 9% per turn if you have 3 immortals. Just I don't really think it's going to be enough. It's not that much in the long run, so I don't think it's going to be helpful. With the counter attack, I think he's getting much more HP back by just counter attacking right before he takes that stun. So usually he is, not always, but he is stopped off right before the stun. Okay guys, I hope you found this informative and interesting. Let me know what you think. I'll be happy to hear your feedback. Have you used this guy at all? Do you think there's potential in him? If this is the first video that you're watching and you didn't see the other video, this was basically an idea from Murder Inc. I don't want to take credit for this one. He did a video on Duchess because she has perfect veil, and that's besides being able to, or allowing you to control where the stun goes from the clan boss, it's also a damage reduction. But there's a bit of a difference. With Duchess, her build should be faster because she needs to take 4 turns for the clan boss's 3, because she takes the stun, so she loses 1 turn basically. So that's one thing. And besides her being faster, she also gives them perfect veil, which actually persists for 2 turns even if they damage an enemy. Whereas with the veil that he gives, the damage reduction is 7.5%. However, it will not persist if the champion who has it damages another champion. It just disappears. So it's only useful for Skull Crusher actually, because when he places that veil buff, he takes the stun, then everybody else takes a turn and attacks the clan boss, so their veil goes away. So even for the AoEs, they don't have the damage reduction from veil, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. However, because Skull Crusher actually right after right at that first AoE, right before it, he actually places his Stonewall ability, which doesn't attack, it doesn't do damage. He actually stays under veil, so he gets that 7.5% damage reduction, unlike everybody else, which I think helps because he places ally protection on everybody else and he takes the damage for them, at least half of it. So that 7.5% I think might be helping him stay alive a bit longer, which is always good. So this whole idea of the team is around staying alive for longer, just sustaining through the damage, and trying to make sure you're doing the most damage for the amount of turns that you are given. Alright, so I think this is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe guys, keep well, and I'll see you in the next one.